Well, the dog days of summer are certainly here. It was 80 degrees this morning when I walked out. There was condensation on the windows from running the air conditioner overnight. And while the temperatures have heated up, so's the smallmouth fishing here on Mille Lacs. They're going on mid-lake reefs and they're going on shallow rock piles. And I'm going to show you how to catch them this week on the water. There he is. That's a great example right there of a smallie that's right on top. You know, look at him go. Holy, I'll tell you what, I worked around the edge right away when we got here. And I wasn't getting them out off the edge. And you know, it's pretty early in the morning, and I guess it's really not that early, but it's early for smallmouths. So a lot of times these fish will really crank up come the noon hour. This is a great way to start our day right there, look at that. But he was right up on top. When you get fish right up on top like that, they'll hit a topwater bait. One of the neat things about where we're fishing is the fact that you can fish something that works down low in the water column or something that works up high. And I'm gonna show you what I mean as we go today, but the reason I'm fishing what I'm fishing here is because these fish are still feeding on minnows, okay? This guy was right up on top of this reef. And he was just running around feeding on minnows. So I ran a topwater bait because I know he's up. But locations you want to look at this week are real simple. You're looking for rock piles that are adjacent to shorelines, okay? This is a huge reef that comes off the shoreline where I'm fishing right now. And I'm just looking for those spots. And you can find them on your map. You all of a sudden see those contours come up and there's a rock pile here, there's a rock pile there. And I've got 3 or 4 more over here that are all holding smallmouth bass. The other spots you want to look at are mid-lake reefs. Now we're going to look at some of those a little bit later today. But when you get out on a mid-lake reef, there's always spots on those reefs that are the same. You just want to look around for those spots that really top out high. Now one thing, and I said it again last week and I'm going to say it again this week, these fish, the best smallmouth bass you're going to find, the biggest ones, all really like having deep water nearby. So when you're looking for these rock piles, look for something that comes up to 3, 4, 5, 6 feet this week, but then look for those rock piles that also drop into 8, 9, 10 feet of water and you'll have a gold mine. That's a great smallmouth and a super way to start our day right there. There he is. There he is. Oh, missed him. Just got him that time. I'll bet you that's the same fish, and boy, this guy is a cannon. I mean, he came roaring up. I missed this fish, and he came roaring up, smacked it again, and that time I got him. Boy, when he grabbed it, he headed the other direction. He headed right straight back toward the top of that pile. Ooh, look at this smallie. This thing's a monster. You know, what's really cool is there's a couple of presentations that are working right now. And one of them is what I'm doing this morning, and that's using topwaters. And the reason they're still biting topwaters is these fish, he's not quite as big as I thought, but he's a dandy. These fish are still chasing minnows. And you know, as long as they're chasing minnows, it means they're up a little bit in the water column. That's a great smallmouth right there. But when they're chasing minnows, they're up and they're running around. So you can get them on topwaters. The other thing you can get them on too is a 4-inch yum dinger. And here's why I say that. That yum dinger floats down so slow. And I'm actually gonna fish that as the day wears on because there'll come a point where they won't hit these topwaters anymore and I'll be forced to make a change. And that's when I'll switch to that. But what'll happen is I pop this popper along the top and it just splashes and gets him going thinking it's a wounded minnow. He comes up and nails it. Now all week you're gonna see this hold up, but we're headed towards something, and you can see, a lot of times you'll see smallmouth have a mark up here. He doesn't have one yet. What that tells me is he is still chasing minnows, but pretty quick he's gonna end up with a big mark up here, and that's usually from digging down in the rocks. what's gonna happen soon is the crayfish are gonna molt, okay? When that happens, you'll see pink crayfish on top of all these reefs if you're on shallow enough reefs to be able to see down. And that's when these smallmouth really go crazy feeding on those things. Now, when that happens, you're gonna have to fish something more down on the bottom, like maybe a Lindy What's It jig, something that you can put down there. It's got some weight to it, or that same yum dinger I was talking about with a weight. Okay, because you're going to need to work along the bottom. But for right now, boy, I'll tell you what, it's a ton of fun throwing something like a topwater on a mid-lake piece of structure and watching a fish come flying out of the water and hit it. That's a great smallmouth right there. We'll let him go. Look at that. Oh, look at that, he got a. The equipment I'm using to catch smallies, it's really not that complicated. You don't have to go out and buy specialized equipment for these fish. You probably have it in your rod locker right now. I'm using a rod that I actually use for Lindy rigging for walleyes. It's a medium action, it's a fast tip. And it works just fine. And I've told you before that I'm just not as comfortable with a casting setup and a bait caster as I am a spinning reel. So I'm just using a simple spinning reel. I tighten that drag down a little bit, and then I use a super line. The main reason for that super line is because when a fish like this hits, you have to be able to pull back and really put the screws to them. With a super line, I'm also able to turn that drag down and make it tighter, so that there is no way that this fish can get away when he sticks it good. Now, when I'm fishing a worm, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the same type of program, but what I am going to do different there is I'm going to use a fluorocarbon leader. I'm going to use a 15-pound fluorocarbon leader tied to a swivel, and that's tied directly then to that super line. And the super line is going to be a 15 to 20-pound braid. It's going to allow you to feel every bite, get a good hook set on everything, so when you're fishing that worm, you can still feel that tick-tick, or when that fish explodes on it like this guy just did, I'm able to just put the screws on him and get after him right away. One more thing, when you're fishing that worm, I had my son out here this weekend. He's 11 years old and he's just learning how to fish a worm. You know what works really good is using a super line with just a circle hook. I used a #1 circle hook for him, and what that allowed us to do is just cast him. When he felt that weight or felt that hit, he could just lift the rod tip up and reel. Now, if you're experienced, you're going to use a 1/0 or a 2/0 worm hook like I'm using. Either way, you're going to catch a lot of smallmouths, and this is a great place to go teach somebody to do it. Mille Lacs Lake is loaded with them. Look at that, there's another one with him. See that? There's another big one. There's 2 big ones with him. See that? That is so cool when smallmouth do that. And this is a big fish here. And that guy with him was just as big. It just goes to show you that when you got a second guy in the boat, that's when you want to make that cast. Look at the size of that one. Wow. That's a good smallmouth right there. Let's get him all settled down here. You know, the week in front of us just looks great. And let me tell you why. Look at today's weather. Look at the size of that smallie right there. You look at today's weather, you're gonna get a dose of this for the next week. Every morning, it looks like you're gonna have calm seas. The winds look like they're gonna stay down. We don't have any major fronts. Now, you gotta remember, we're gonna have some storms roll through here. There's just nothing you can do about that. You're gonna get some with this heat. And they're calling for isolated thunderstorms all week. Now, if you get any of those, it's real simple. Just fish off the edge of these rock piles. But if you get stable mornings like we got today, go up on top, throw that top water right up on top like I'm doing, and you're gonna get these fish to attack. If you gotta slide off the edges to get those fish, just go out there and work that yum dinger and work it back real slow, okay? Cast to the top and then work it back. You don't have to get down to the bottom. You just got to be a few feet under the surface. Boy, when these guys guys get flying around like this. They are just so much fun to catch. And this is another dandy. Look at that guy. Oh boy. Look at that. I don't know what you can do to have a whole lot more fun than this. This is just a ball, and look at this one. This is the biggest one I've got today. And he is not happy about it. Let's see if we can't get him in here. Look at that smallie. Wow. Boy, it is gonna be a great week of fishing, like I said earlier. Look at how he ate that. He just ate that popper, and look at the size of that smallie. That thing is just a toad. Keys to the catch. Today, actually, I hoped I was gonna get to showing you what you had to do with the worm out here, and I'll tell you what, they are just attacking this topwater right now today, and I haven't even gotten to the worm. I'd need another 20 minutes to show you because we're catching them so fast doing this. What you're gonna need to do when you come out here this week is you're gonna have to get up on tops of these structures, and you're gonna have to just work them. And all I'm doing, I'm basically anchoring the boat with my trolling motor, and I'm fan casting around, and I'm just working these areas over and over. And you know, a difference of 5 feet per cast can make a difference, because these fish, they're full. I mean, look at how big that fish is. Look at that belly. They're full of minnows, so you gotta put it right in front of them, and you're gonna actually antagonize them. That's what you're gonna wanna do this week. Bring your pop-Rs, pop them around, especially in the morning or when you got calm conditions. If you're not getting them to go, slide off the edge and work that yum dinger, and you'll catch plenty of fish this week. For more current and up-to-date information, check back next week. I'm John Thielen. We'll catch you on the water.